What's up, guys? Diego Sultan here with Listenersnotes. Today we're going to be talking about the new album from Sampha. This one is called Process. Sampha is an R&B artist that likes to incorporate elements of electronics in his music. And I first found out about this guy just flipping through some indie website looking for some singles to review. And that's where I saw his single, No One Knows Me Like the Piano. I didn't actually ever put out that review, but I thought it was a pretty decent song when I first heard it. It didn't really work as a single for me because it was so pulled back and mellow, and I think there were a couple other songs on this album that would have worked better. But after listening to it in the context of this album, it is amazing what he does. I really like the skeletal production on it because all we have is this very stripped back keys and his voice. That's it. We have his voice is put to the forefront with some beautiful piano keys. And Sampha really does come through with a lot of passion in his vocals. It's absolutely gorgeous, his vocal performance on this song. Not only is the song just structured well with a memorable hook that I can just find myself singing again and again, but it also just feels personal and very up close and passionate, and that's one of the things that I really like about it, just the overall emotional impact it has on me. Next, I want to talk about my favorite song on the album, Blood on Me, which is just a great track. I like this sort of, once again, skeletal, but this time much more hard-hitting beat. That's what we have here. It's just some really loud drums, and they're sort of pushing the song forward and giving it a little bit of bite, a little push to it. And Sampha's voice on this, once again, is incredible, especially the hook. The hook is amazing, completely memorable, one of my favorite hooks on this album. It's beautiful. And that's really what you need to expect if you're going into this album. This is some very stripped back R&B. I would say somewhat similar to something maybe the XX did, but they did more of a pop music thing, or even what Frank Ocean did with his last album. This is very stripped back. But what I enjoy about this album is, one, I love Sampha's voice and personality, and also I would say it comes with some great hooks on this album. The songwriting itself and the structures are absolutely gorgeous, and even though the instrumentals are very stripped back and very quiet, there's still a lot of layers and nuance to them, which makes them very entertaining to listen to. And I think that makes a big difference when you're trying to listen to an album that's very quiet. If the instrumental is constantly changing and there's so many layers that it takes you multiple listens to decipher it, it makes it a more enjoyable album, especially when I try to listen to an album multiple times before I even think about writing review notes. Another thing I like to add about the song Blood on Me is I really do like the layered vocals, both during the verses, which sort of does this drone under his singing, and then the hook, they layer his vocals and make it so powerful, and I love that element too. It's very melodic. The song Reverse Fault has this like synth arpeggio to go along with this really lumbering beat, and I love that about it. And the hook, once again, very smooth, very catchy, and that's what you're gonna get with his vocals, just very smooth vocals. He has range, but his voice never feels too, he never sounds like he's struggling. It sounds so effortless for him, but so passionate at the same time, and to me, that's just wonderful that he's able to pull both of those sides off. And then the song Kora Sings, another song that I like, and this one is especially interesting in terms of the production. It has this rapid percussion with these blissful synths around it, and it just sounds beautiful, and it's great to hear such varied production on this album. A song like this really stands out in the track list, even if the vocal performance isn't as attention grabbing as the other songs. But this song has this instrumental that balances out the album for me and makes it more listenable for me. It gives me that replay value. I also love the song Under. This one is one of the more ethereal tracks on the album, very mellowed out instrumental, definitely in the background, definitely stripped back. But I think Sampha does an excellent job, once again, getting intimate, getting personal with a listener. The way that his vocals are recorded, and not only that, but the way that he sings really does, when I use the word intimate a lot, but that's how it feels. It feels like he's speaking to you. It sounds like he's saying it to you, and it's hard to explain in words, but you can tell if you listen to it, these vocals will pop. This is one that That grew on me a bit. It's very quiet, but I think it's beautiful, and the hook is actually, once again, very catchy, and I think it's these catchy hooks that really set this album apart for me. I like the twinkling guitar melodies to go along with the synths on this song. I think it is very beautiful. It's a nice backing. It layers well with Sampha's vocals, and it gives a lot of melody to it, and it's definitely an interesting listen for sure. And the song Incomplete Kisses, again, another song that I love. Again, another memorable hook. This album is just full of those things, and it's what makes it strong. Definitely good songwriting throughout this album. The fact that they were able to make these great song structures that really make these hooks pop but still make the verses interesting, and just the variation of production under Sampha from chorus to verse is once again excellent. And I really like the sour off-kilter keys on the song Incomplete Kisses that go along with this hook. And the song Timmy's Prayer is very interesting to me just because of the way that it builds up. It starts very mellow like most of the songs on this album, but it manages to layer a lot of instrumentals, especially towards the end. But the way they were able to slowly add in more with each verse is actually very impressive, and it sounds really great. It gives that sort of like epic finale conclusion type of feeling at the end, and like the song on itself the song just stands so well on its own because of that feeling of finality. Once again, Sampha gives a good performance, and of course I like the gentle keys and the pulsating synth on the song. So, I've talked a lot of good things about this album. Let's get into a couple of my negatives. I wouldn't even use the word negatives, they're just shortcomings, I guess. First and foremost, I think the ending was definitely very quiet, and again, people who've watched me know it was kind of a struggle at first for me to get through. It's grown on me, and I think it's still a good song, but I don't know if I would put it at the same level as everything else on this album. And maybe the song Take Me Inside could have been fleshed out a little bit more. I think I'll accept it as an interlude, but I think it's possible that that could have been a full song. But that being said, obviously I love this album. I recommend it to people who like R&B. I recommend it to people who like singing. I recommend it to people who like pop music. If you like to listen to music, I recommend trying this album out because I adore this thing. I'm going to give it a 92 out of 100. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you want more, you can always hit subscribe, and I'll have plenty more content for you there. Also, I will have links on the side of me that will give you more reviews to check out. Like, subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. Can't wait to review some more music for you guys again real soon.